So in my last video I had jacked the barn. I had intended to come back the next day and keep working on this wall, but we ended up going on vacation instead. And then I came back from that more tired than when I left and had to go back to work for a week. So it's been about 2 weeks, maybe even more, since I last worked on the barn. I didn't leave it jacked the entire time. I did set it back down. I didn't trust it to be resting on that temporary supports for that long. So I'm back and I'm just getting ready to jack it again. Okay, so last time I had jacked this beam here, and I just had a shingle above it, taking up the gap between it and this sistered 2x4. I didn't like that very much, so what I've done is I've removed all that, and I've actually screwed a 2x4 that's resting in those notches of each of these studs. So that's screwed in place, so now when I jack on this beam I'm potentially lifting all these at once, or some of the weight anyway, so I think that'll be a lot better. This particular beam here, I've always done it that way, so it's got the 2x4 scrap across and a little shim above it, and as you can see it's already jacked. So I'm gonna jack this one again and start again. Okay, so this beam is now jacked. This 2x4 that I have screwed into the notches is actually working really well, better than how I had it before. So now when I'm lifting up, it's lifting up a good portion of this wall, which is a lot nicer. It seemed to come up a lot easier this time. Next, I'm just getting ready to cut off the rotten bottoms here on all the studs. So that's what this piece of wood is here. That's the height, or it's screwed to this stud at the height of two 2x6s. So I'll just cut these all off and then try and get this 2x4 out that's in this groove here. Once that's out, I'll replace it with a new 2x4 that's wrapped in sill gasket, and then I'll put my new double sill plate down all the way across. So that's the plan. I'll go another 8 feet. Hopefully I can get that done today. And that's what's left of this. Nothing. Just chewed right up. It's going outside. Screw there. Yep, nothing left of that. Okay, that one's out, as you can see. It came out fairly easily, actually. It was in pretty rough shape, so it didn't offer up much resistance. Once the screws were pulled through, it pretty much let go and popped right out of there, which was nice. Unfortunately, this piece here is not coming out. It's actually screwed in from the outside. You can see the plywood sitting on top of it, which is different than how the rest of the wall was, where the plywood is next to it and it laid in that little trough there. So why this 4-foot section was done differently, I'll never know. It was just whoever worked on this before being lazy would be my guess. So now it's my problem. I can't take it out. I tried cutting through one of the screws. It's really tough, and then over here I can't actually get under far enough without damaging my sill plate and sill gasket to cut free any screws that might be in there. So I'm just going to leave that piece. It's only like a 4-foot span. It only runs to where the foundation's cracked. So I'll leave it, and I'll take it out when I redo the foundation work in a year or two. Okay, so next I'll just clean the dirt and debris out of that trough and cut a new 2x4 to fit in that space. Ta-da! All clean. Okay, I've set it down. Okay, that's it for tonight, I think. Sill is at least temporarily in place. The weight is mostly back on the wall. But the bottom sill is actually, the pressure treated one is bowed, and it's making it really hard to get another piece under. So I just used to temporary little supports for tonight. Hopefully that the weight of the wall will help push that 2x6 back so it's not bowed so badly. This one's staggered all the way across and is now screwed down. So that's in place and permanent now. It's just a matter of finishing up the rest of this. But that's good enough for now. That'll let me start working on these studs here because they're in pretty rough shape. And I need to put support back before I start taking out more. So I'll work on that. Probably tomorrow maybe, but I'm not going to get too far because it only goes here. So I can get these two and maybe this one, depending on how bad it is, and then restructure this window and add some cripple studs underneath. And that'll be it for this portion. I gotta put these beams back too, so that's why I haven't gone too far, because I have to reframe around this window, put a header across, and then rehang that beam that I took out. So that's what's coming up next. One last thing before I go. You may have noticed I was sitting on these as I was doing some of the work. My headers are in, so this is it's 3 2x12s, 12 foot long. I don't need 12 feet, but that's the lengths they come in. So I will build a header out of that, and that's going to go right over here. So when I first started, I started here and I stopped there, and you can notice there's a top plate that runs along here. So someone's already cut all these studs, and I suspect just to do some repair work. Maybe they were replaced at one point. But I'm going to put a header in that runs across, and cut all this wall out, and that's going to be a pair of big sliders. So I'm looking forward to that. The other difference is these beams sit on the ledgers, and they're going to be bolted to the studs. I can't do that with the header in place, so I've got joist hangers that I'm going to hang the beams off of across the header. Everywhere else they're going to be bolted to the beams, so I think that's going to be good. So that's it for me. I'm tired and hungry, and I'm going to go get some supper. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.